there are a few brands, right? They still make the lugs so long. I don't understand it. Why? Because then you're sort of neither here nor there.
So hi everyone, so welcome to Watches and People episode 6, and today we have infamous WK slash Chrono.Path, right? Chrono.Path, right? Instagram handle will be listed here. So big thank you for you coming down.
No, thank you,
today.
man. Thanks for having me.
And we have your watch collection here today, and we're going to talk about essentially your watch journey and your watch philosophy and your watch collecting ideology in that way, right? Let's put it that way. Right, as always, first things first, wristwatch chat. Right, so
All right.
what do you have on today?
I'm having this 1980 Seiko Dolce reference.
Yes. All right.
Nice. I'm having the world's most boring watch on, the Explorer 124270. Still very boring, but
At least you got a reference number.
But in all honesty, I still love it a lot. So yeah.
Right, and I have the NWA. I think probably like the third one. So far, I see the third one that has it. Right, the Chrono Calendar Type 1. Right,
Very nice.
GBHG nomination watch. Right,
Very nice.
And it's on a croc leather by MS Bespoke. Right, really good so far. For those who are in Malaysia. Please check him out, right?
Yeah.
Recommend it. Cool. All right, so but enough of this. Today's focus and today's attention will be on what do you want to be? What do you want the audience to know you as? Chrono.Path or WK or?
WK, man.
WK, Mr. WK right here. Right. So I think first things first, you need to tell our audience a little bit about yourself. Who are you? And like when do you start collecting watches?
Oh, okay. That might just sort of
Yeah.
flow into like why I like watches. And
Fair enough. Yeah.
I used to be an advertising man, and then I started a business in 1996. I started a digital agency. At that time, they were not called digital agencies, so we were very sort of web design focused.
Okay.
Because that's when you still had to do everything by hand, code by hand, and all that. There were no tools available. And then it sort of evolved into a digital agency, which I then sold in 2012. And then I stayed on for a few more years, and now I'm retired, unemployed, with
Nice.
no income.
Full-time watch lover.
That's the dream. That's the dream, right?
With no
Full-time
income,
watch
but buying watches, which is it's not a good place to be.
Debatable. I mean, like from us on the other side of the angle, we're like, oh, this is the dream.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
Like,
but one thing I cannot say is, hey, money can make back one. Oh, cannot.
fair enough.
I don't have any more to make back. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, we'll probably touch on that as well, right? How does that change in terms of your watch purchasing attitude
Sure,
and
yeah.
stuff? But let's take it to the very start of it, right?
Yeah.
How and when did you start collecting watches?
I think first of all, I don't see myself as a collector in the sort of classic sense of the word, right? Collector sort of denotes that or connotes that you accumulate.
Your hoard.
I don't. I'm ready to sell any of my watches. Obviously, some watches stay for longer because I enjoy it more. But generally, I don't see myself as a collector. But I think it all really started as a kid. I don't come from a rich family, so my father, when I think I was in standard 1, maybe standard 2, he took me to a watch shop. With the small savings that he had, and bought me my first watch, and told me, "Son, you are a big boy now." And I was like, "Wow, I'm a big boy now, a really, really big boy, right?" So I think that's how it started. Unfortunately, I don't remember what the watch was.
Was he a watch guy?
I don't really know for sure because he passed away when I was 19.
I see.
So I never really got a chance to sort of go there.
Yeah.
But I suspect he liked watches. I know that he had a Rado,
I see.
the ceramic one, which is like curved around the wrist. And the fact that he felt that the rite of passage for me to become a big boy was to give me a watch. I suspect he was.
Right. So from that onwards, that is like the signal. Is that, oh, watch equals big boy, and then it's like sort of like you sort of resonate from there, and then you start carrying on journey.
Yeah.
He put you on the Chrono.Path lah.
Oh man,
Quite right. I think that sort of like started it, but I can't say that I was into watches from day one. I sort of grew up liking watches, and in school, as a schoolboy, the cool kids always had the Casios, the calculator ones, the ones that light up and all that. The one with the stopwatch, so you can stop, see who has the fastest reaction time.
Same thing. Yeah.
But my first watch was a manual wine, and I can't remember what it was. It could have been a Citizen.
Yeah.
I think it was a Citizen, because that was affordable. And I remember getting into a lot of trouble because I would forget to wind it. Right? And then the next day, you sort of wake up late, sort of late for things and all that because the watch has stopped.
That's a lot of responsibility for a 7-year-old kid.
I think that's what he was trying to do.
Okay.
Didn't work.
Okay.
So first time I'm hearing a 7-year-old kid having a manual wine.
But back then, automatic, I'm an old fuck. Can I?
Sure. Straight away. Yeah.
I mean, I'm an old guy, right?
Yeah.
So back then, automatic watches.
Understand.
But I would have assumed it's a quartz. Right?
Yeah.
It was kind of before that.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But as you said, everyone was like rocking Casios. So I would thought that maybe it's
Later. Like later primary school, the upper primary school, secondary. Then it was in the quartz era already.
So when everyone was having the digital watch and you're having a manual, did this kind of like set you apart from the other kids?
Or did you transition to quartz as well? Right?
I know that there were probably a couple of watches between then and when I started work.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what they were.
Okay.
But I don't think I was cool. Still not cool, so I don't think I had the cool watches. I think I had probably like probably a quartz but non-digital. Quartz analog.
Yeah. Okay.
So then when I started work, it was a very casual environment because I was in advertising. So I used to wear like Nike watch, Adidas watch, right? Those kind of things. And then when I had a little bit of money, the first watch that I bought for myself, which was a proper watch, was a Tag Heuer, an F1 diver, which was semi-plastic. And I managed to ruin it diving because that's when I started diving. And I think maybe I didn't screw the crown in properly or something, flooded it, and it was destroyed. And then I was like, what the hell is this? Lousy watch. I pay so much money. Now, now you think back, it's like it wasn't that much money, but back then it was a lot of money. So then I went back to like cheap watches. I was wearing Swatches because like why pay so much for a Tag Heuer and then it cannot even go diving with me. I managed to ruin a Swatch going diving also, but I didn't know anything about water resistance.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and then after that in '96, so I've been working for about 6-7 years at that point. When I started the business, I needed a respectable watch, and so I got a Tag Heuer again because back then the perception was still Tag Heuer, right? Because this was like the '90s, and Tag Heuer was like at their peak.
It's more prominent, I would say, at least in this part of the world, right? At least my parents as well, my dad, their dream is Tag. Back then it's Tag Omega.
They were everywhere. They were like masters of advertising. Right? Of course, Rolex had been doing it a long time. They were present everywhere and all that. But even back then, Rolex was like something you buy if you made it. Right? So, I had a Tag Heuer, which was a Carrera, big, chunky guy. But I always thought that was the right way to wear a watch. And then I bought many watches along the way, maybe about 7-8 watches throughout the career, and it was mostly because my senior management team, when we make a target, one of them would say, "Hey, I want to go buy a watch and celebrate." I was like, "Okay, go ahead. No lah, you come with me lah, you help me choose and all that, And then we would walk into the watch store, and then I would see something like, quite nice. And then find out what it is, find out how much it costs rather than never finding out what it is. And then just buy, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up with like maybe 7 or 8 watches, I think.
So at this point, it's mainly just buying based on aesthetic
Yes.
solely,
Yeah.
right?
What spoke to you immediately lah?
Yeah.
In the box.
Didn't know anything about the watches, didn't know anything about watches in general, just like, quite nice, and then haggle the price, the guy gives you 20% discount. You think like, wow, what a steal, have to buy already.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So it was like that, and I was still not a watch guy at the point where I sold the business.
Okay.
And after I retired, it's like, I had bought some watches which I thought were nice, but I have no reason to wear a nice watch anymore after I'm retired. At that time, I was just wearing an Apple Watch like 99% of the time. So I thought like, all these watches sitting in a drawer collecting dust, just sell them lah. I don't wear them anymore anyway. But just to make sure I put them all on again, and I didn't like any of them. Right? So I decided to sell lah. And how to sell, who to sell to, where to sell, how much to sell for, right? So I had to start doing research.
The rabbit hole started.
That's how it started lah. So eventually I sold everything, and then I actually for a few months I was really just using an Apple Watch. But because the research had started, I said like, okay lah, I'm allowed to buy myself one mechanical watch, and it has to be cheap, but it has to be something, with a story, with history and all that. So I bought an SKX, right, 007. And then after I had the SKX 007, it was like, it's a bit tall lah. It's quite thick lah.
Quite a big boy.
Maybe I should get a smaller watch,
The SKX 013.
SKX 13.
No, I didn't get the SKX
Okay.
13. Not because I had good reason for it, but I thought like I should get something dressy. I got a diver and I get a dress watch, right? So I had a SAP 035 and a 033.
Okay. Good choice. Good choice.
Nice,
And then I went to SAX 055, which was the titanium one. And then I had a Zin 556i. And basically every watch also got something wrong with it. Right? So then eventually I just sell, buy, sell. And that's how I got to where I am today.
Okay. So at this moment, when you talk about watches, right, talk about maybe watches / horology, what does that mean to you? Right. As in, is it a personal companion, or is it a tool,
right.
or is a accessory? Like,
Yeah, I think because of how my first watch made me feel, I think watches are about how I feel, right? How they make me feel. I'm not an athletic person or adventurous person or whatever, but when I put on a diver or I put on a field watch or whatever, I feel different, right? I put on a G-Shock, I feel different. I'm not terribly refined, as you can tell, but when I put on a nice dress watch, I feel like a bit atas, So yeah, for me, watches are about how I feel, and I think it all started from that day when I felt like a big boy, right? So the watches that I buy tend to make me feel a certain way.
That's good.
But eventually, I think every watch and the way it makes you feel is quite transient, because eventually you won't feel the same anymore when you put on that watch, right? Because it's you sort of progress beyond that, and so I will sell. And I think like there are some ironies in sort of what has happened in the past for me, because like I got into watches because I was getting out of them. And the other thing is like I collect without really collecting. So like my philosophy to collecting is not to collect.
It's just to enjoy it lah.
And a lot of those watches that I bought, sorry.
I was going to ask you, like, since the first 7 watches that you offload and then to where you are today, how many have come and gone, like rough number? 50 watches?
I think more lah.
More than that?
I mean it's quite ridiculous. It's been about 3 years since I got back in again. I think maybe 80 to 100
Okay,
watches.
okay.
Right.
But you know, we talked about income, right?
Yeah,
The fact that I have no income, so I buy really, really carefully.
Yeah.
Based on deals, based on things that I think will be able to hold value or even depreciate in value. So I buy, enjoy, and then when I decide I don't enjoy it anymore, I sell it and then hopefully make a little bit of money. If not, you know, get back my money or suffer a very small loss. But it generally sort of, there is an upside to it over the last 3 years. And so my watch fund is bigger than it was 3 years ago.
Nice.
So that's sort of...
The net effect, the net effect,
Yeah,
So net you make more good decisions than bad decisions.
So far,
Because there's some that you lose, some that you gain. But the overall net effect seems to be good, right? Based on what we see here.
touch wood, you know. But of course, the current market being what it is today, a bit scared, you know.
Right. But they so far, any pieces that makes you, I mean, that has like a tremendous sentimental value for you.
Yeah,
Like that makes you like change your perspective. It's like, okay, maybe this one, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think if there is a piece that to me ends up in the collection forever, I doubt it's because of sentiment.
Okay.
I think it would be because I still continue to enjoy it.
I see.
You know, like if 5 years later I put it on and it still makes me feel a certain way, maybe it doesn't make me feel the same way as when I first put it on, but it makes me feel something, then I might keep it. But a lot of the watches that I bought were milestone watches, right? The first 7 or 8 were milestone watches, more or less, you know, because it was somebody else's milestone, but I sort of piggyback on it because I go and follow them to go and buy. And we're in the same company, so they're also my milestones. But at the end of the day, I sort of learned that they don't mean anything.
Okay.
So the way I look at watches now is that I don't look at them as milestone markers. Because I think you don't need the watches to remember the milestones. I mean, like the first watch I ever had, for instance, I'll never forget how I felt when I put on the watch and walked out of the shop with the watch, right? But I've forgotten the watch. You know, if I had the watch today, would it be a better reminder to the way I feel? I don't think so. I remember it so well. I remember it as clear as day. I remember what the shop looks like. You know, I remember what the
smell.
Not the smell, but I remember sort of the lighting in the shop because it was a rundown shop, right? I remember all those things, right? But I don't have the watch. I don't even remember what it is. So I feel that we don't need physical, inanimate objects to remind us of things.
Okay.
The reminder is in ourselves, you know.
So now going to a little bit controversial, right? So do you think the ones that actually kept watches or buy watches for sentimental reasons, or are they just giving like self-excuse to buy watches?
No, I mean everybody's different, right? So this is just how I feel. I feel that I don't need the watches to, you know, to remember certain things, right? In fact, there was like one watch which was a fashion watch, a Gucci quartz piece, you know, which my wife bought for me for one of my birthdays, and it was one of the pieces that I sold as well because I really just had a chat with her, you know, a very frank chat to say, look, I don't like this watch anymore. It doesn't mean that if I sell it, I don't love you anymore, or I don't remember that you know, that gesture, you know. But it's going to sit here, it's going to be wasted, might as well I'll just sell it, right? And she's like, yeah, absolutely, sell it, you know. So like, a lot of people think that maybe that's a bit extreme. Wow, your wife buy you the watch you dare to sell, you know, and it's like, yeah, you know, but as long as she's okay with it.
She's okay with it.
But that's the thing I always say in like our past couple of episodes as well, right? There is no right or wrong way of doing things.
100%, man.
Yeah. Some people may like to buy all one single brand, so be it. Right. Some people may like to collect different stuff, so be it. Right. So there are, I mean, like whatever floats your boat, right? Basically, and my always say that it's find your own path to partake in, right? Chrono.Path. But it's and in a way try to not get influence
Yeah.
for your decisions.
And
Right? Because
arguably, and
yeah,
arguably your wife's openness for you to sell it also propels you along that path, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I think it did lah. It sort of made it feel like it's okay.
Yeah, it's a safe space. I mean, it should be a safe space for you if it's something you enjoy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if your wife says okay already, it's like, anything anybody else says doesn't matter already at that point, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But I mean, I had to be the asshole to even bring it up in the first place. You know? So like, I was really clearly down that sort of way of thinking
Yeah.
that these are inanimate objects. You know, we don't need them because we've got the time on our phones. You know, and if you really wanted a really good functional watch, get an Apple Watch. I mean, I still
Yeah.
believe that an Apple Watch is a, you know, it doesn't have all the romance of sort of classical watchmaking and all that, but it's a great freaking watch. You know, especially if you're traveling. I think it's the world's best travel watch because you land is in local time, right? In a complication, you got home time, you got currency conversion, right? You've got weather, which if you travel to a cold climate, you really appreciate, right? You've got turn by turn directions. When I go on a dive trip, I've got tight charts and moon phase, you know, moon graphs.
Yeah.
I don't have to set it, right? It picks it off the internet.
Yeah.
I can do voice translation.
yeah.
If I'm trying to haggle with a vendor or whatever, I can speak into the Apple Watch and he can hear it in his language and he speaks back, I hear it in English. You know? Right? It's great travel watch,
Yeah.
right?
Fair point.
So we don't need all of this stuff. So the whole point is you gotta have fun.
Yeah.
You gotta enjoy it. It's gonna make you feel something. Otherwise, don't do it lah. You know, just get an Apple Watch.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So throughout that journey that you partake in before you sold off the entire collection, or after you sold off the entire collection, sorry, what is the biggest takeaway in that, aside from what you already mentioned, how the watches make you feel and stuff? What is I mean, if you were to do it again, what would you do differently, essentially?
I don't think I would do it differently because I think the mania, right, the sheer stupidity of buying so many watches and selling in a short amount of time. They always say nothing replaces experience. When you get to experience so many watches, you get to sort of pick up all the small nuances about what you like and what you don't like, and what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So I wouldn't do it any differently. Of course, I'm in a fairly privileged position, I guess, you know, to be able to buy so many watches at one go. Of course, I buy with the intention to sell, or with the knowledge that I will most probably sell. But you still need some sort of startup capital to be able to do that, right? So it's not something that will work for everybody.
Yeah.
But it worked for me because I got to enjoy a shitload of watches and get to really fine tune what I like. And also, I think it's sort of it also is the reason why my so-called collection is really very varied. I mean, this guy here is $350,
Yeah.
right? And I've got watches that obviously cost more than that.
Yeah.
And I love them all, right?
Yeah.
For now.
Yeah. Fair.
And when I don't, I will sell.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I don't think I will have it any other way. I really like this way of sort of it's sort of a very unencumbered way to really just enjoy watches for what they are. You know.
So far, of all the watches you sold, what is your biggest regret, or if any? They said, I shouldn't have sold this, now I can't buy back already. You know?
No, I don't have any.
No. Wow. Wow, not bad.
In fact, maybe I regret not selling some of them. So,
Okay. Before the crash and anything.
not because of the crash, but because like, hey, if I had sold it earlier,
You can buy XYZ.
I could have experienced
You enjoy-
more,
enjoy
you know,
more stuff,
rather than hanging on because like I'm not sure or whatever. You
So,
know?
opportunity cost what you lose and what you
No,
get.
absolutely. Also because I'm an old fart, right? So it's like, how many more years do I have to enjoy this shit? You know, so I better like, you know, okay, let's get to it. You know, don't waste time. Yeah.
Alright, so then in terms of as you progress to looking up what is the next one, what to sell, what to let go and what to take in,
Yeah.
what is your thought process behind that? How do you go about hunting for the next one and which one to replace and so on?
Oh, okay. I actually, to be honest, I don't think I actually actively hunt. I just consume a lot of content about watches. So some watches, obviously, you will, when you read about it or when you watch a video about it, it will come across as, hey, that's cool, right? And then sort of in the back of your mind. And I would probably only buy if the right deal comes along for something which I had learned about or read about or seen earlier. So I don't like actively target any specific pieces. Maybe there were a few that I had like specifically hunted down because I was really, really sure I wanted to get it. But by and large, no lah. There is there's probably millions of watches out there, right? And I'm not even talking about number of units, but number of models. Right? There's millions of watches out there. And you sort of can only at any one point see a subset of it. Even I think if you've been sort of immersed like we are for the last 30 years, let's say, you still can't see that it's still a subset. And then within that subset, you have certain things that you think, that's quite interesting. And then within that is another subset of the things that are, really speak to you. So yeah, there's this like X number of watches that if it happens to show up somewhere or on Carousel or Chrono, or if I track it on watch charts or Watch Recon, and all these places, it shows up good price, and if I still got money, then I might say, okay, I'll try that, buy that because it's a good price and I think it's sort of below market value. So I'm not
go with the flow, essentially.
Yeah, I think like I'm a really shit collector. If you
but a
really
very good
want
enjoyer. Right. That's
I enjoy the shit out of it.
Yeah, you want to enjoy it, right? So maybe the right word for you is a watch enjoyer.
A watch enjoyer, yes. So I can't remember who. Somebody asked me once, so are you a watch collector? I think it was somebody who was DMing me. So are you a watch collector? I said, no, not really. So you're a dealer? I said, no, I do sell, but I'm not a dealer. You're either a dealer or a collector. Which are you? Right? I say I'm a watch consumer.
Oh, okay.
Right? And as the part of the process, I collect, but it's a snapshot in time.
Snapshot in time, yeah.
But I also sell. So does that make me a dealer? If you want to call me a dealer, so be it. But I'm a consumer. It's like you go and buy food from the supermarket, eventually it's going to come out of you, right? It's like same thing, right? I take the watches in and eventually they will go out.
So none of these are safe. So no one is safe here.
I don't think anything is safe. I mean, I bought the Basculan as a 25th anniversary watch. So next year is my 25th anniversary with my wife. So the story, if you will, for this is that she's not a watch person, right? And she thinks I'm clinically insane, which is not
fair.
Not
all
wrong.
of us are. Yeah.
And so I said hey, instead of getting a new 25th anniversary ring or whatever, I don't even wear a wedding band. We keep ours in the safe. Instead of doing that or whatever, we get a couple watch. And she's like, I don't really want a watch. And the only watch that she said, eventually she said, okay Cartiers are quite cool. Then I'm like, but at that point I wasn't really into Cartiers, right? So I'm like, Cartier. But no we should get 25th anniversary. We should get something that's really difficult to get. We sort of aim high, right? So walked into the AP boutique and said, we want to put our names down. We have no purchase history. But I want to get a 37mm and a 34mm for my wife. They're not so popular. We buy two at the same time, so hopefully, you put us on the list. I'm giving sort of big advance notice because it was like over a year before our anniversary date. And they were actually really, really nice. They didn't sort of turn me down. They didn't give me the sense that it's not going to happen. Took all our details, asked a lot of questions about lifestyle and what I used to do and blah 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 and what I do now. And then so I thought I'd just get back in touch with him a couple of weeks later, and that's when it went the other way.
Sideways lah.
Oh, really?
Yes. Okay. And I found out I'm not the only person to experience that, right? Face to face, they are really, really very nice. They're really very professional. But as you keep the contact with them, they will try and let you down gently.
Okay.
I see.
Which is what it was like for me.
Okay, but I'm not sure if we want to get into this now, but I actually have a different experience with AP.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell us.
I wasn't expecting to get any. So
Right.
I went there and said like, hey, I'm a watch collector and so on. This is what I want. At that point, the only one that fits me is the 37 or
Yeah.
the 38 Chrono.
Right, okay.
Right, I didn't like the 37 because there's an automatic word at the bottom.
Right, okay.
Right, and then the only one that fits is the 38. So I asked for that and says that, oh, here's. Then they asked for my name card and everything. Asked you to fill the entire thing, right? I think 1.5 months later, I got it. Yeah.
Oh my god!
I actually got it.
You
but
God!
okay, but perhaps I'm extremely lucky as well because there's another friend that
Yeah.
went in before me,
Yeah.
the same SA, and he asked for the same watch as well, same watch, same color, and he didn't get it.
Right.
Right. So I
Is this KL or Singapore?
KL. Right. The at that point it was at the hotel and the hotel next to Star Hill. Because they were renovating.
Marriott.
Yeah. So they had it
Hey,
there.
congrats, man.
Oh, thanks. Right. So my assumption is they judge you and
Yeah,
everything.
100%.
Right.
Yes.
Then they because my friend didn't have a name card because he's running his own thing.
Right.
So I assume that's one of the reasons why he didn't get it. Whereas I can produce a proper name card that I am working XYZ company and so on. So I'm not sure if that happens because
I think it's a big part of it,
Yeah.
right? Because obviously for any of these guys, whether it's an AD or a boutique like AP, they basically want to sell to people that they can continue to sell to.
yeah.
So, retiree, no income, hello, what are my chances, right? So your profile obviously sort of, tick the right boxes for them.
Yeah, that's what I assume so lah. So so I would say at least what they are doing, I would give them props. Although they could definitely improve, or there could be a better way to execute it. But the intention wise, it's better than what any of the other people are doing lah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Patek is not doing that.
Yeah.
Rolex is not doing
Oh,
that.
for sure.
Patek and Rolex is living on to the 80s and it's like you do whatever you want to do. Then the 80s is going to sell to who gives me the most money.
Yeah, I mean the big difference is the
Yeah.
boutique.
Yeah.
It completely changes the model, the
Yeah.
business model.
So for AP, when they go in the route with boutique only, I can see that they are at least not, lack of better words, corrupted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in terms of the executions of identifying the potential client could be better, lah, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, everything can be better, of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
but I think it's really difficult for them as well. They basically have the AD end of the stick in terms of customer facing, right? Because everybody wants to go in there and everybody wants to be put on that list, and that's their job day in, day out, right? So you've got to also then be able to turn people down
Yeah.
day in, day out, right? So it's not easy for them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so at one point I told my wife, not going to happen lah, the Royal Oak,
Yeah.
So we should go and look at some Cartier. But by then, it wasn't really a downgrade lah.
Okay.
How you can say that? But by then I was really starting to get into Cartier, and so I tried on all the modern tanks, the SM, the LM, and the XL, but nothing really worked for me. But the small on bracelet looks fantastic on my wife. So we went ahead and got that one, and then I continued to hunt for something that was in the right size. I wanted something a little bit vintage,
At that point, it's Tang Mas or Tang Solar?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had the choice between both.
Yeah.
But if we had gotten the solar bead at that point on the bracelet, we would have to wait.
Okay.
Because even if you wanted it on the strap, you would have to wait, but not as long as if you wanted it on a bracelet.
Okay.
And for my wife, it's like, yeah, nice to have solar, but for her, it doesn't really make a difference. Whether it's a 6-year battery change or a 16-year service, to her, no differ. So then, because the bracelet one was available, we got that, and then I slowly started to look for this. Because I just wanted something mechanical, if possible, whether automatic or manual, I think. And something a bit more interesting, and so that's how I ended up with that. So it's a very long sort of digression from what you asked, which is like, you know, is there anything that I would sell, right? So this one would be harder to sell,
Okay.
right?
But it won't say no.
Yeah,
it
but
won't
But I will
no.
say no.
Okay.
Because at one point, if I were to sit down with my wife and say, "Are you wearing your watch?" "I'm not wearing this watch. Let's sell." I don't think she will say no.
Yeah.
Because she's very pragmatic. You know?
I'm saying it here. If you ever sell, I you have a potential client right here. I'm saying it here. No, I'm not joking. Yeah. So I mean, to be honest, at least from what I've experienced with the Royal Oak, at least for that 38mm chrono, you didn't miss much lah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think
You
for
still
the
have it?
not anymore. Just put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much you know about that, but it's not an in-house movement.
Right?
It's a
I
case.
don't know very much about it.
Yeah, so 38mm is a case back, and because it's not an in-house movement, the date window, it's actually on the what's that, between the
4:30.
4:30.
Yeah.
But not
It's like
exactly
it's 4:45.
4:45. Yeah.
Because it's not the in-house movement, they can't
Yeah.
place it that way.
Yeah.
So there's like, as soon as you look at it, it's like you're paying
Yeah.
120 grand
Yeah.
for that watch, and mainly because the bracelet manufacturing quality, it's good lah.
It's
I mean, that's
fantastic, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's what they know for. But anything else aside from that, right? It's nothing really wows me lah, to be honest. So I don't think you miss much lah.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe this was the better choice.
I think if you say dollar for dollar,
Oh,
you probably
value-wise,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bang for buck lah.
Yeah.
Right. So
Value-wise for sure. Yeah.
right.
Actually, the one I really like is I think it's a 14790. It's a 36mm. A friend of mine has it, and I put it on, and it's like, oh my god, it's so good. It's one of those watches that you put on and immediately, right? You just know it. The blue is the right shade of blue. You know, it's very pared back. It's not bright blue. The petty tapisserie is a little bit bigger, so it's less jewel-like.
Yeah.
You know, it's less flashy. The bezel width to the dial, that ratio is like, to my eyes, perfect. That one really lah.
Fair enough.
But it's not available in
Yeah.
the boutique, so that's going to be something maybe at some
Maybe
point.
we shall see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's surprising you say that you look for that as well, because I actually went last month to tell them and say that I want a couple watch,
Right.
37, 34 as well, both white.
Really?
Yeah, the L
I think you will get it lah.
I hope so lah. I hope
Yeah.
so lah. But now you say that I don't have already, maybe no more lah. No, you say
Oh,
it's okay.
Now they know, yeah.
Oh well, it is what it is. Right. There are better watches anyways. So, yeah. Right. So, how about this? Let's ask you. Let's go with this. What is, if you have any advice for people wanting to get into the watch scene? Advice or precautious, right? I mean, obviously you lose a lot of money, but yeah.
I hate to sort of like give advice, you know, 'cause I don't feel
Suggestions.
qualified.
Suggestions.
But I
Yeah.
mean, like, if anything that for me personally I learned is it's possible to get into watches without losing money. So I would say find your way to do that.
But on that note, would you think that when some people do that, they skew too far away and they say,
Yeah.
I'm going to buy Rolex only.
Yeah.
Then they start losing the sense of enjoyment.
Dude, I made money on Seikos, man.
Right.
For
So
the
it's a
first
balance
6
lah.
months, I just, you buy right, and you do your research,
Yeah.
you sort of know what's
Right.
popular, what there's good demand for,
Yeah.
and you buy right, and you buy at the right price, experience it. Of course, you're not going to buy anything that you hate.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
it's
like,
balance.
wow, that's really popular and it's a great price, but I don't like it, then please don't buy lah. But if you buy what you like and you do your research and understand the market, you can get away with not losing money. I didn't lose money.
Yeah.
I actually made a bit of money
Yeah.
buying and selling Seikos and enjoying them and experiencing them.
Yeah.
So you don't have to get into Rolex.
Yeah.
I got into Rolex pretty late, and I didn't get into any of the hype pieces. It was an Oyster Day, a 6694 Precision, which is a manual winding 34mm. I got it at a good price. Enjoyed the hell out of it, and then But that it opened the floodgates.
Yeah.
Because then I got a 14060M, a 5-digit sub, no date, with a little bit of a dial anomaly, which makes it quite interesting. It's they call it a long F. As you know, the 14060 is the old case, the pre-super case, but it has the older movement. And then 14060M, which was a transitional model, they put in the new movement. The new movement has two transitions. One is a non-chronometer, and then after that, superlative chronometer. When they went to superlative chronometer, they went from 2-line to 4-line, but there are some 2 lines that are actually superlative chronometer.
Oh, okay.
And there are some 4 lines that are not.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
No, sorry, there are no 4 lines that are not, but there are some 2 lines that are not superlative chronometer. And then when they went from 2-line to 4 lines, the way they printed the F was different in feet. Right? So the old 2-line had that long flourish in the F, right? And then when they went to the 4-liner, they did a short F. But there was a 2-year production, or 1.5-year production when they did the 4-line with the long F. So I got that. It's stupid lah, those stupid Rolex
only
things.
we will care about this kind of thing, right?
So I got that at a good price. It was my birthday. I bought it. Would I sell it? Yeah, because even though it was my birthday or whatever, it doesn't matter lah. So and that was all pretty late. Before that, I was just playing with other brands and different case sizes, shapes, dial colors, dial textures, all that. So if anything, I won't call it advice, but I would say I know it's possible to get into this hobby without losing money.
Yeah.
And also without compromising your enjoyment as well, like the best of both worlds.
You have to buy what you enjoy.
But based on what you say, I think it's really an art form as well. You need the discipline, you need to be able to really want to do the research. And I guess that's something natural if you truly are into watches.
So, if you truly
so I guess it's not for everyone either. Right? So
you're already watching the YouTube videos and whatever anyway, right? Just sort of put it to practice.
Okay.
Fair enough.
So the next question is, what is your biggest pet peeves in the world of watch collecting? Right.
Pet peeves?
Yeah, the thing that you can even hate the most.
Yeah. I try not to hate. I would say I wish that some manufacturers, when they make their watches smaller, because my taste is getting smaller and smaller in watches, but they still make them long lugs. I don't understand it, Like the whole reason for making a watch smaller is because you're trying to appeal to obviously a different aesthetic, right? But if for instance Nomos, Longines, Breguet I didn't know, but thanks, now I learned. There are a few brands, right? They still make the lugs so long. I don't understand it. Why? Because then you're sort of neither here nor there. And for somebody who wants a smaller watch, it then does not make it, doesn't make it feasible because then, you still got your 48, 49 millimeter lug to lug, but your dial is a nice 36, 37, it's like, I don't get it, So I wish they would be more proportionate.
Okay. Perhaps let's go with one last one, alright? What are your thoughts on, although right now it is like you mentioned, crash right now, like on the low stage.
I never said crash. It's not a crash.
Okay, yeah, on not as high as it was last. Right? Do you think that is a good thing? Are we heading to the right direction for the watch enthusiasts or watch enjoyers? Right? Is this going to just bring in a lot of other people who are not classified as watch enthusiasts, or is this going to bring like brands to just continue to focus on hype pieces and so on?
Okay. I think there's a lot of nuance and a lot to unpack there. Right? I honestly believe that actually when it comes to people who buy watches, there are two types of people. People who are not enthusiasts, which is probably like 95% of the population, and then enthusiasts, which is us, right? And I think the two are the triggers are quite distinct. It's the reason why, for instance, if we were to dig up another familiar name, why Rolex does so well. it's not because of us. It's because they have been so consistent in their marketing that they equate themselves with human achievement, right? Whether it's in the early days, explorers, divers, whatever, they equate themselves with human achievement. Today, it's more like athletes and all that, but it's always human achievement. And so we've sort of been conditioned to think that if you achieve something, promotion, marriage, graduation, whatever, you need to get a Rolex. That's not how we think, but that's how the majority of consumers think, right? So their triggers are very different. Their triggers are not driven by price, which is why the grey market, which I personally support and believe that they have a role in the watch economy, but the grey market continues to survive because people will continue to buy Rolexes, regardless of what the price is, because it is that brand association, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that the market is going through a correction, I think it might help to bring more people into the enthusiast side of the fence. So it might grow the enthusiast side, but whatever it is, it will be a very small growth in comparison to the majority of the market. I think the majority of the market is price insensitive for, let's say, if you talk about things like Rolex. If you talk about, say, things like Tissot or whatever, they're going to be very price sensitive. But they are not, that's not the part of the market that's correcting anyway. So I think the net effect for the non-enthusiast market is very little impact. I think. The impact is amongst enthusiasts. It will bring more enthusiasts because, if before you had to pay 65 for a sub in the grey market, now you can get it for 50. Let's say, I don't know what the actual price is, but let's just say somebody who was on that threshold of not being able to afford anything above 55 or not willing to afford anything to buy anything above 55 can now buy. So
that's what happened here.
already,
That's essentially what happened here. Yeah.
So I think it has some impact on the enthusiast market, but the enthusiast market is small anyway.
Fair enough.
So that's where the other part of the question is that should the brand be doing something to sort of more in a way help or more push to the watch enthusiast side, or
they don't care.
They don't care because end of the day business is for them, right? They got the money.
Business is booming.
So
I think if you're a brand like Omega, right, which you have a decent proportion in both sides, right, because they obviously understand that the Omega enthusiast is a big part of their loyal following, right, and they actually do a very good job in engaging the community. They need to do more because now they have the opportunity, a narrow window. We don't know how long it's going to last, but there is a narrow to actually bring people in. But if you're Tissot or Seiko or whatever, I don't think they care about the enthusiasts because it's such a small portion of their market, because they're mass brands. And if I were to put my business hat on, I would say, okay, we know that we're pissing you off, dear enthusiasts. We'll try to piss you off less. Yeah. But these are the people who are buying, right? I've got to focus on that. I don't think that brands necessarily need to sort of shift their focus to the smaller part of their market share or their business share. But of course we want it.
I mean, to me, either way you go, it's fine. But in a way, associate yourself with that identity, right? I would say, the thing that slightly irks me is that they will say that we are like high horology and stuff like that, but they mainly cater towards people who want to buy it for status, right? So I don't like it when they start flip flopping.
Is there a specific brand that when you talk about that?
Got a few but we let's not name in shame and stuff.
Okay. We don't want to destroy your opportunities.
So I mean, if to me it's like you mentioned, business is business, right? I mean, if you really want to cater towards a non-watch enthusiast, then it's fine. I mean, you do what you need to do.
You're running a business.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, which is why I love independence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I think and sort of my taste has really changed from when I started, and now I'm looking at independence like, oh my god, I want one. You know, but of course, like the pricing is like ridiculous, lah.
Never say no. Yeah. Eventually.
You know, and also I like variety, right? If I were to consolidate everything and sell everything, maybe I can get one piece or two pieces. You know, but
no
gotta
fun.
have variety.
Yeah.
Like,
You're gonna
I'm
enjoy
not there yet, lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's a great way to end this episode. Right.
Cool.
So lots of interesting insights here from WK. And Instagram handle and everything will be placed over here. And if you do want to consult WK on what watches to buy or what, he may or may not tell you, but feel free to follow him on Instagram, right? And he is offloading some watches as well, I believe.
Yeah.
Check out his carousel
Every
page.
few months or so.
Yeah. So just keep it. Just follow his carousel page, and you just keep an eye on some hidden gems. Maybe this one eventually. We'll see, right? And
Never know.
and thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.